Welcome to Pat's Cast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And this is our episode for April 24th, 2021.
McKinley, back left circle, Farron, backdoor, Ward, and what a stop by Welke. What an alert post-to-post.
Line to Feist. He'll walk down the wall, looks to the goal and scores! Leighton Feist up top. Brown to the left point, Riker Evans cruises in, the third-year Pat from Calgary, center, Denemy scores! And Torney is a breakaway, Carter Torney short-handed, scores!
Well, Chris, it's kind of a funny week. We're sitting here, we were talking before, we're actually kind of almost disappointed in the outcome this past week. Pats had 4 games, they ended up being 3-1, but the one loss was, nothing's a given, but arguably a game that they could have won if they played the way they did the rest of the week. Just overall, what's your feeling of this week?
Yeah, I'm still pretty happy with it. We kind of only predicted the 3 games. I kind of forgot about that Moose Jaw game, but we were looking for 2 out of those first 3 games. You know, Saskatoon was maybe not a game we expected to win. We thought, we should win Swift Current, and we can win PA if they play good. And so we got the 2 wins out of those first 3. It's just the one bad period cost us a win in that Swift Current game, and then you get a solid rebound after that for the Moose Jaw game. So out of those 4 games, you got 1 bad period and 3 wins out of it. So you can't be too disappointed by that. It's unfortunate that they're really rolling here at the end of the year, but, you know, I think Strush alluded to it earlier in the year. They were looking for this kind of game, this kind of play at this kind of point in the season, the 20-game mark.
Yeah, and I recall that because I remember some of those early games where they were not playing very well. And I think it was after one of the collapses against, I think maybe Moose Jaw or something, but Dave said, listen, we're not totally upset about this early in the season. We're expecting to come together closer to that 20-game in the season mark, and that's where they're at right now. And boy, this last week they played some darn good hockey against some good teams in Saskatoon. Even PA's been struggling a little bit. They're still a good team. We haven't had a lot of success against them lately, and those were 2 really well-played games, even that Moose Jaw game too. And Moose Jaw is not the strongest team either, but they also have some really good players, and we really played quite well. I think the thing that sticks out to me is, I don't know, just the full 60. I mean, it sounds so generic or cliche, but that full 60, and it's all those hockey cliches, like winning some of the battles and putting pressure on and not letting them hack around on your net and get those dirty goals. And I mean, we can go through each game here individually, but overall, things looked good this week. It was kind of refreshing, enjoyable to watch hockey this week.
Yeah, and Roddy Ross post game after the Moose Jaw game, he was like, "Yeah, it's too bad that we're finally rolling now, but they're rolling, and you know it's good to see." And yeah, like you said, the 60 minutes, it's a cliche. You know, in my notes, I've got that third period of the PA game. The Pats controlled the first 2/3 of the period. Like the shots were like 10-5, and then PA got that late push, like the team that's down always does, right at the end. But they held off, and you know, it was a physical game too. Like coach and players both mentioned that. You know, it was such a war. They said it maybe elevated their, I don't know what to say. Like,
we're getting
really
to the
got
end
them
of
going,
it.
got them into that game.
And it's interesting. I mean, the announcements came out that there is no playoffs. So you think things could go 2 ways, right? The guys could say, we're not playing for anything. Yeah, we're not playing for anything. Let's just kind of wrap it up for the season, coast into the off season, and get ready for next year. But it's not that way. These guys these are some gritty games, and they're playing hard and they're playing physical, and they want to win. And there's literally nothing Like there's nothing. There's 2 games left, and whoever is done, then it's done. It's like great, go home. Like
Yeah,
but they're playing hard.
Like people said at the start, well, what are you playing for? The game's going to be any good? You know, it's clearly they don't care. They're playing to win, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what's on the end of the line, right? We're here, we want to win, right? So
Yeah, I mean, even
And-
as
and-
fans, I don't like, even when we're losing, I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to watch us lose, and they don't
No,
mean
exactly.
anything. I know, but still, and that's just from a fan standpoint. Like, so imagine being on the ice and competing. Like, you're gonna go for it.
yeah, nobody wants to skate around and get blown out every game, right? You're going to compete to try and win these games, right?
Exactly, and we have a bit of insight here from Drew Englot and Dubinsky after that PA game on their feelings about it.
Oh, for sure. It was a really physical, hard game, and it took a full 60 minutes to win. And obviously, those games feel really good to win because it takes every single guy in our team playing hard, making plays, sacrificing their body, fighting, sticking up for guys. It's a rewarding win, and those are the wins that kind of bring teams together.
I'm feeling like unreal. Like, I mean, obviously it's late in the season, and all year I've just been working hard and doing all the right things right, and finally to get the luck on my side to pot that first one in has just been unreal feeling, especially in that game too, because that was a really fun game to play. So really good feeling.
Yeah, Drew, we hear from Drew Englot there. Both these guys, Dubinsky and Englot, haven't necessarily put up the points that maybe we expected. I would say specifically Drew Englot after last year,
Yeah.
a rather successful campaign, not really coming together for him yet this year. And I guess this late in the year, I mean, it's nice to get that monkey off his back and get going. But yeah,
Dubinsky's kind of quietly put up some points, but at first I thought, well, he hasn't done much, but actually look at his points and they're decent. But he got a 2-goal game there. He gets a lucky bounce on that first one, and maybe that's what he needed to get rolling, right?
Yeah.
Just that lucky bounce, and that whole game actually, the Pats got a few decent bounces. Chorney scores one off his chest,
Yeah.
and maybe it was just just one of those games where they finally got some bounces.
But after like the week before, where we had terrible bounces, sometimes you need some to go your way. So it's not doesn't feel like the deck's stacked against you sometimes. So, no, it was nice to kind of get those bounces and watch some wins come together. And then so PA, that was one of the games we thought, if they play good, maybe they can win. Saskatoon kind of seemed a little bit out of reach after how this year's been going, mostly for how well Saskatoon's played. Again, just another really well played game by the Pats. When you listen to Strush, sometimes he talks about the systems and playing the systems properly, and then you see the results. And when things don't go well, he usually says it's the system that didn't work,
or they didn't execute it properly.
Right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not that the system didn't work. It wasn't that it was that it wasn't executed exactly.
Not that he's throwing the players under the bus, but he does allude sometimes they get away from the game plan a bit, but he isn't one to say, oh, they did it wrong or whatever, but he's like, we just got to stick to the game plan. If everybody does their thing, we're good to go.
I don't know what that game plan is. What is it when they win?
I think it's honestly, like, listen to that, or watching the Moose Jaw game, you had the Moose Jaw broadcast, right?
Yep.
And they pointed out how heavy a game it is. And that's what they do want. Like, the Pats don't have that top end skill.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to play, chip the puck in, play behind their D and work on them.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be entering the zone and just sniping goals like some of these guys have these last few games. But
right. Yeah.
I think it's more, get it in, get it deep, work the D, work in the offensive zone.
And some of these things, like another cliche, special teams being special, right? You look against Saskatoon, they had 6 power plays. Saskatoon did, and they went 0 for 6. So we killed 6.
Yeah.
The penalty kill's been good. Getting some shorthanded goals, like things happening like that haven't happened in recent history for the Pats. Coming together.
Exactly. A couple shorthanded goals this week.
Yeah.
That Saskatoon game, I thought the penalty kill was outstanding.
Yeah. I mean, to not give up a goal against that team on a shorthanded situation, that's pretty phenomenal, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Saskatoon was missing Tristan Robbins and Colton Dock that game, but
sure.
I mean, you play the team that is presented to you, and you go from there.
Exactly. Yeah, sure.
Before we move on, I mean, Denemy finally gets on the board. That's his first goal since Bedard left, so that was nice to see.
So let's hear from Kyle Walker. Of course, in his last season as a Pat, he's probably feeling a little bit
pressure.
Pressure in what sense?
To get a goal. You don't want to
get a
be
goal.
goalless in the season.
Sure. So let's hear from Kyle Walker after the Saskatoon game.
Finally scored a goal tonight, but your game is more, defensive, and you kind of maybe some unsung minutes. How is it nice to get a goal, though?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. I was talking about it with my buddy earlier on today, and just like, it's got to come one of these times. I mean, there's been so many chances, and like, it's funny that it happened on an empty net too. So hopefully I can get another one.
You're the leader back on that defensive core. What are you doing, working with those younger guys to help them grow their game?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of reiterate to them like what I mean. I've learned from my mistakes too. So like whenever I see them doing something that I used to do, I mean, it's simple. I mean, it's just being a good teammate and kind of just like, hey, like, come on, don't do this or whatever. But yeah, it's honestly they're really good. They're really good by themselves. I mean, they're really good learners. Hoff. There's lots of talk on the bench, and we're just supportive with each other, honestly. Yeah, it's awesome. I think that this program is going to be a force, definitely, to be worried about in about 2 years for sure. Don't give them any longer than that, but they've got a good team coming up here. They've got a lot of good young guys who are hungry, who work hard, and I'm excited to see how the Pats do down the road.
Walker's referring to some of the players and the up-and-coming players in particular. One of the players that was awesome this week and got a couple goals was Leighton Feist. And, boy, I mean, we can talk about Connor Bedard and his shot and everything like that, but, my goodness, some of those releases that he had this week were fantastic. And, boy, as a young player, 16-year-old, the points he's putting up, he's at, 5 goals this year already, and
you project that over a season. He's 20 games in, so you're looking at 15 goals. And what's the club record? 21 by Hobbs there a few years ago.
Yeah, so you're looking at a 16-year-old defenseman. I mean, yeah, okay, it's 20. Maybe he'd get better.
Yeah.
Who knows? It is what it is. That's what we have to work with. So if you extrapolate that over a full season, you're looking at 15 a year. That's pretty.
Even if he puts up 10, he struggles maybe in the middle of the season. 10 goals from a 16-year-old D-man, we'll take that any day.
Exactly. And some of his shots were just fantastic.
Yeah. The Saskatoon and the Moose Jaw goals there this week were impressive.
Yeah, really good. So, Kyle's right. There's some good players and some exciting times coming ahead. Not so exciting times was that Swift Current game, though. Boy, it just coming off. It's a trap game, right? It's just one of those games that
you've had two big wins, and then it's Swift Current, and then you have that letdown, and you've seen it right off the start. Swift Current really pushed the pace, pushed the play right off the get go.
If I was a betting man, I would not have bet on the Pats that night. You can feel it. After two big emotional wins, and then a team
you're playing the bottom feeder.
Yeah, lower in the standings that you've beat a couple times and you've racked up some points.
We'll just coast tonight.
The definition of a trap game, and it was. And they did okay. They held it together for a bit until the third period and things fell apart. wasn't a super exciting game. I don't know, just yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the most exciting. I thought one of the best Pats players was Cole Carrier. He had
Yeah.
quite a few opportunities. He's a little snake bitten. He hasn't scored too much this season. We thought maybe he'd pot a few, but he wasn't for a lack of trying and chances that game.
And so one of the players I was not impressed with was Riker Evans. We talked about him and his point production, which is awesome. Good for him. His penalties, man. Like
I mentioned that too. I mentioned that a few episodes ago. He's taken a lot of penalties.
He's taking a lot of penalties and very ill-timed penalties.
Yes.
When he took that final one,
3.5 minutes to go or whatever it was,
and just like blatantly checked that guy from behind, I was just like, I think I turned it off right there. I was like, I'm done. Like, oh my goodness, someone who's supposed to be a bit of a leader, like that was a bad
was
penalty
tough one,
to
yeah.
take. Right? I mean, the game, who knows where it's going to end up, but you sealed it there, right? Whew.
One thing I do have to shout out, we were talking about Dubinsky and his offensive game, kind of coming out, getting some puck luck and PA. And maybe he hasn't been known for his defensive play, but he made a great defensive play in the Swift Current game with a net empty. Evans pinched down on the boards, and you seen Dubinsky back out into the neutral zone in case the puck got by, and sure enough, it did. And he grabbed the puck, and they brought it back in. I was like, oh, if they score, that's the play right there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they didn't score. But I noticed that play, and I was like, that's impressive for Dubinsky to say, hey, oh, look at the defenseman's pinching. I better back out just in case.
Mm-hmm. So we talked a little bit earlier about Dave Struch, how he blames the system breakdown on and sometimes in not performing the expectations. Earlier on in the year, I was waiting for him to get upset about some games, and I think we finally heard it in this one. So we're going to listen to Coach after this game.
Absolutely. We just finished playing 2 games, 2 periods, and close to 5 minutes of doing things the right way. And I hope you're talking to one of the players tonight, because they gave me the best answer. They thought they were better than the opposition. So you're going to have to ask them some of the questions, because for me, it didn't make sense with all the success and everything we've worked on for 20 games to see our group develop into what they have, and to see them let each other down the way they did tonight in the third period is it's disappointing. It's unfortunate. Our goaltender was really good. You can't do that to your goalie that's been working hard in practice and all year and do that. What we did in the third period.
So thank you, Dave, for finally kind of showing some emotion here. Like when we lose, like, I don't know, as a fan, it's always sucks when you lose, when I guess it's different from a coaching perspective where you're trying to find the positives or build on the positives and this and, things like that. But he was pissed after this one.
Yeah, you don't see that much from him over this, I guess season plus this one, last season and this one, talking to him on a regular basis. He is, like we said, a pretty positive guy. And, like you said, it is maybe nice to see the little bit of fire once in a while.
But I think it's related to the fact that they did play so well the past 2 games. And the
expectation has risen, right?
Yeah, because the team can perform like that. And then to do that, and he said 2 periods in 5 minutes. 2 games, 2 periods, 5 minutes, and then it was this last 15 minutes of the third period in this game just did it. And I mean, this must be our cliche episode, but it's like any given Sunday, right? Like any team can beat any team. Like there's nothing for granted in any league ever. And we do have something from Nyhoff here and some of his feelings about this and this season so far.
Really come on strong here, up to 10 goals this season. You've kind of had a slow progression with your offensive game. What's really changed here lately, especially with Connor being gone?
I don't know. I think I'm just shooting the puck a bit more. Every season I've been progressively working on my offense, but that's not really the type of player I am. I know I'm not always going to score. I pride myself on face-offs and D-zone and being a 200-foot player, but definitely getting older. I'm need to start finishing more, and I've been lucky enough to be able to do that.
You got some confidence at the start of the season there, and then it kind of rolling now?
Yeah, definitely. I think at the end of last year, second half, I really stepped it up and just really focused on that coming into this year. I worked a lot on my shot, and it's been paying off.
So Logan Ioffe has, 10 goals this year?
Yeah, and like we said with Feist, projecting that over a season, that you're looking at 30-some goals, right?
That's pretty darn good. That's higher than any. I don't know. Have his last last year's stats on hand, but
I think he had maybe like 15 goals.
Right. So we've seen,
and you don't think of him as like the most offensively gifted player, and he alludes to that, right?
Yeah, he says he's not.
He was working on it.
But I mean, 10 goals in 20 games. That's not bad, man. Like,
no,
he's looking. Things are coming together for him too in his game. Even though it's not necessarily his forte, he's not the power forward or anything like that. But good to see that development too, going into next year.
Yeah, because there is a little bit of a log jam for 20s next year, but I think he's
building a good.
Has an inside track to one of those spots. Yeah, he had 16 goals last year.
Okay. Anything else from Swift?
I don't think so. I think it was just a little disappointing, right? It was just that one got away.
Yeah, too bad. Now, if I was a betting man, this is where you don't know where to bet. Is the team going to come out fired up after going into the next game, or are they going to kind of be in a slump? So going into Moose Jaw, good rivalry against some good players on that team, and that game again, they looked kind of back to what we saw earlier in the week, and they really outplayed that team. I think they chased the goaltender from the net. So
that didn't work last time.
No, you're right. My theory is if you can do it early enough, like if you change your goaltender within maybe the first 10 to 12 minutes of the game, then it seems to be able to change the tide. And but yeah, Meerwald had played really good against the Pats lately. Not so much this game. I wouldn't necessarily blame. I don't know. Sometimes it's just that they get some bad bounces and stuff. And
yeah, that first goal Dubinsky got, that was pretty weak.
Yeah,
I thought. Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame it all on him, but I mean, young goaltender. Yeah, they just make that decision sometimes. I think just give him a rest.
Before it snowballs, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, before it snowballs, and maybe it's not even the goalie. Like, it's just a kick in the butt for the team. Like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, overall, it's a good game. Again, they were up 3 goals, and I said, because we've been up 3 goals against the Warriors a few times this season, and it's ended up not in our favor. And I thought, oh God, here we go. But no, they played the full game. They were able to finish it off. The one goal Roddy Ross gave up was, kind of
it was deflected.
Weird.
It was totally deflected off the stick.
Looked like it went right through his glove. He was not. He had his hand up there, just missed it. And I think it was tough to read.
He was expecting. Greg asked him, was it the fastball? You were expecting the fastball, and it was the changeup, and he was like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And you see in the replay, he whiffed on it. His hand was there, and he's like, oh, wait, it's not here yet. And then he tried to grab it and just totally whiffed on it. And that's tough because that could have been a shutout for him.
And
I thought he deserved it. He was really solid that game. Like, Moose Jaw had some good chances that game. Jaeger had a great power play opportunity early in the game.
There was a period, it was at the end of the first period, I think, where they had a good amount of chances. Mm-hmm. And it could have been a very different game if they scored on a couple of those.
Yeah, definitely. And Parker Berg pulled one off the goal line.
Twice. because
Was there two?
Well,
Okay.
within the few seconds, he pulled it off the goal line, and then as he's clearing it, hits a Moose Jaw player, and it comes right back, and he had to clear it again.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
geez.
two within like 4 seconds. Like it was
Oh.
pretty good. Yeah. So that was cool. And Zach Smith returning after concussion protocol snipes a beautiful goal shorthanded.
Yeah, that was a really nice shot.
Yeah. Cole Dubinsky, even the because I watched it on CHL TV, you get the home broadcast. So the Moose Jaw Warriors play-by-play guy was really touting Cole Dubinsky in his game. Was really impressed with him. It was a good game, fun game again to watch.
Yeah, Englot scored another one. I mean, it was a really nice shot. Maybe a bit of a lucky shot. He kind of just spun and fired it top corner. That was, his first goal there was really nice on the rush against the Saskatoon game.
Yeah.
Or PA. One of those ones. But yeah, him finally getting a couple on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, it does kind of feel like, oh shit, we're just kind of, people are starting to click, the team's coming together.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I know, that's tough.
And literally, that's it. We have 2 games left, and tomorrow and Tuesday?
Yeah, that's
or Monday, yeah, and we're done.
Against 2 tough teams, too.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's not a bad way to finish. I'd be interested to see. It's some tough games.
Since they are playing real well, how can they translate into the 2 top teams in the division, right?
Even if they're not wins, even if we don't win, just some good games. I'd be happy.
Yeah,
with
and
right now.
Strush alluded to that after, I don't know which game it was this week, but he's like, we're fine with a loss if we play the right way, right?
Yeah.
They know they're not gonna win every game, but as long as we're playing the right way and creating opportunities, not making bad mistakes and costing us games like they did at the start of the season, it's starting to come around, like I said, and yeah, it's just tough that it's coming to an end.
It is tough, but hey, at least we got some hockey. When you're looking at now, the OHL announced this week they are not doing anything. They're done. So that's that for the OHL.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
You can look at the BC League or BC Division, even the Central. They're just, now that there is no playoffs or any plans for that, there's some teams that just will not get all their games in. So let's be thankful that we've got 2 left. Let's not jinx it, but things look good so far that they'll get those done, and we'll be happy and thankful for the amount of hockey we did get this year, because somebody's getting none. I wasn't expecting any, and some are getting less than they expected. So yeah,
and it sounded like the OHL was literally a day away from announcing a return, and then the government said hold off, and then now it's done.
It's done.
They were that close.
Yeah, but thankfully there's a little bit more hockey going on too. So once we wrap up the WHL season, the under-18s is just getting kicked off next week as well. So of course we have a bit of a vested interest in that, with Connor Bedard being down there. So they played kind of a pre-tournament game against Finland. Was that this morning, today?
Yeah, it was like this afternoon.
And so Connor scored 1 goal during the game, and then they looked like they had Canada won 5-1 against Finland, and then they had a kind of an exhibition shootout, and he scored in that as well. Both are rather exceptional goals. I think you watch the actual game goal, and it's not that he did. He burnt that first guy pretty good.
Yeah, he burns the first guy, so he's a right-hand shot. He's coming in on the right-hand side of the ice. He gets a nice pass from Stankoven. Yeah. Just misses a stick. And then he cuts across the slot, and then he's got to turn his body, and he goes back the way he's coming off the far post and in. Like, that was an impressive goal.
It was. It's not maybe... it's highlight reel to us, but if just the casual fan may not maybe as much. Like,
yeah,
but it's nice when you start
end to end.
Yeah,
or something.
when
but
you watch it a few times and you just look at the movement and his body positioning, and like he literally goes like, against the grain. Like the whole play was going the other way, and then he ends up on the other side, and it's just
and then shooting against, not across his body, but back the way he came from, and that he gets the goalie leaning the way he's going, and he shoots it back the other way.
Yeah.
I was very impressive goal. I thought
it is when you really start to analyze it and look at it like 5 or 6 times, like I did. It looks good. and then
the shootout goal is just wow,
just dirty. Like
if you haven't seen it, we retweeted it, and you just think Patrick Kane, and you see Patrick Kane in that.
You do a lot. Yeah, it's I don't know how many. It's more than a triple deke. It's like a 15 or 16 deke. That he does.
And credit the goalie, he didn't bite until right at the end.
Yeah, well, he doesn't do a lot of movement, like lateral movement with his it's a lot of fast back and forth, but then he does some quick like laterals, and then that's where the goalie bites.
Yeah, then the goalie was done.
Yeah. So
but you think about it, and he's playing just 17-year-olds. They're high end 17-year-olds, but he's been playing against 18, 19, 20-year-olds. So can he do better than what he did in the WHL? It'd be interesting to see how he turns out.
Do they play?
Sounded like he got some power play 2 time.
Okay,
he's on the second line. So
what is it? 4, 3? How many games in the round robin?
There's 4 games
in round robin.
In round robin, yeah, and then there's 3 up to 3 playoff games: quarters, semis, final. Okay. So 7 games total max.
What do you think his point total is?
You think he can put up 2 a game, like depending if they go all the way?
Okay,
over 2.
I'm gonna say 15.
15 for the whole.
Okay, but they're gonna have some cupcakes too.
No, I know. You look at the schedule, right?
Yeah.
There's
15's obtainable.
What do we got here? Sweden is the first game on Tuesday, so the last Pats game. So there's a little overlap there.
Yeah.
Then Wednesday you got Latvia, Friday you got Switzerland,
and
then Saturday you got Belarus. So like 3 pretty easy games.
Yeah.
Sweden will be tough.
Yeah.
So you think you can probably rack up some points there, but it's all about the wins, obviously, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we were talking about points here.
Exactly. My cousin, we were texting. He's like 2.5.
2.5
points,
so close to 20. Maybe we'll put up a poll or something. How many points he ends up with? That'll be a good one. It could be. Jeez. Now we're putting pressure on the kid. Jeez.
Well, like we said at the start of the year, we didn't want to put not that we're going to put pressure on him, but
I just didn't
our
like
expectations were just like I was like I'm not picking him
really,
to lead the team in scoring.
All I had seen from him was like those few clips on YouTube and stuff, and I was like, I mean, all right, but he's playing, sure, he's playing like academy hockey and stuff, but yeah.
So McDavid had 7 goals, 8 assists. 7 games, 8 goals, 6 assists for 14 points.
Only 14?
So 2 per.
All right. I'm going to say he beats him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe one other guy to watch there, the import picks, Vozil for Czech Republic. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to watch him.
Yeah.
Unless you have Hockey TV and a subscription, you can watch all the games. They're carrying all the games for the under 18s.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, TSN isn't really covering many non-Canadian games. I think they got just one during the week, a non-Canadian game, Latvia versus Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
So unless Canada plays the Czechs, because this is all draft eligibles.
Yeah.
So it's, other than the underagers, of course, but so he's, it sounds like he's an easy first round pick But I was going to maybe dig into his game a little more this week, but I just didn't have a chance to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like high-end offensive or kind of all around or what. But
Yeah.
it sounds like he's a interesting player.
Good. All right. Well, that'll be nice. The season ends on Tuesday, but we'll have a little bit more to string us along for a while. And of course, we will be back next week to wrap up those games. We've already hopefully confirmed Kevin at the Blue Liner with Dub Network to join us for that one and do our...
He maybe ghosted us tonight because maybe he heard our last episode where we said, maybe we shouldn't invite him back after his predictions, but no.
I hope that wasn't it.
No.
No.
Be back
We'll be back
episode,
for our annual season wrap-up episode. We're wrapping it up already. 2 more games this week. Predictions?
See, 1 win, maybe 3 points this week here. Last 2 games, they've been playing good. Maybe I can keep it rolling for
maybe squeak one out.
a couple points.
Speaking of Brandon, before we go, their jerseys with the wheat sheaths at the bottom as the trim.
Yeah.
Oh, that is sharp. I
know
that.
they brought that back this year, right?
That is so nice.
New owners, obviously, you got to change up the jerseys a bit. Yeah. I do like those, but those all black ones,
those are terrible.
No thanks.
No, those should go. But I'll have to admit, I think their jerseys may be my
one of the top jerseys.
If you're just basing it on colors and logos and stuff, they're pretty good. I like theirs.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay, but let's hope for some points this week. Either way, either some good games against some good teams, and we will be back next week to talk about them. Good night.
Good night, folks.